Emily froze as the hand pushed further through the mirror, its jagged nails scraping against the floorboards. The reflection grinned wider, its eyes black voids that swallowed the light. She backed away, her breaths shallow and quick. The air in the room thickened, heavy like tar. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, vibrating violently without a call, without a message. It was as if something inside it wanted to break free. The mirror shook. Cracks spread across its surface, but instead of shattering, the glass rippled like water. More figures pressed against it, faces Emily didn't recognize, all distorted, their mouths stretched in eternal screams. Then, a whisper rose, not from one voice, but hundreds. They all spoke at once. "Trade places, trade places." Emily stumbled toward the door, grabbing the handle, but it wouldn't budge. Her reflection mimicked her struggle, laughing silently, then stopped, standing perfectly still. Only its eyes moved, following her like a predator. The whispering grew louder, filling her skull until it felt like her thoughts weren't her own. She dropped to her knees, clutching her ears. Suddenly, the reflection raised its hand and pressed it flat against the glass. The shadow behind it leaned closer, towering, stretching unnaturally tall. Emily's phone flickered to life on its own, the screen glowing with words that sent chills down her spine. "She stays. You leave." And then her reflection moved without her, it mouthed the words, "Goodbye." The glass shattered outward. Shards flew across the room, slicing the wallpaper, embedding into the wood. From the jagged frame, a figure stepped out, her reflection, identical in every way, except for the smile. It straightened, dusted off its hands, and looked directly at her. Finally free. Emily's body froze, her limbs refusing to move. It was as if invisible strings now held her in place. She tried to scream, but her voice wouldn't come. The reflection crouched down, tilting its head with curiosity. "You'll learn. It's better on the other side." And then, before she could resist, cold hands dragged her backward into the mirror. The glass sealed shut, leaving only silence. The room was still. Empty. Except, her phone buzzed one last time on the floor. Its cracked screen lit up, showing a new photo, Emily. Smiling from inside the mirror. Emily's lungs refused to work at first. Cold pressed in from all directions, like she had fallen into a lake made of air. Then sensation returned, a prickle of static across her skin, the bite of glassy chill on her tongue. She opened her eyes. The room looked the same and not at all the same. The wallpaper's pattern now crawled in slow motion, vines etching and erasing themselves as if the walls were thinking. The lamps glowed without electricity, their filaments beating faintly like heart lines. Dust floated, then rose, then drifted sideways, obeying some current she couldn't feel. The mirror behind her was a window, on the other side stood the bedroom she had entered a minute ago, only empty now. No broken glass. No reflection. Just a smooth, dark pane that swallowed light. She pressed her palms to it. The surface was warm, almost skin-warm, and it pulsed back once. A heartbeat. "Hello?" she whispered. The mirror fogged under her breath. On instinct, she traced a word into the condensation, HELP. The letters formed backward on her side, and on the far side they faded entirely, devoured by the dark. A soft tap answered her, from inside the wall itself. Tap. 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 Like fingernails against a coffin lid. Emily turned. A corridor had opened where there had not been one before, the far end vanishing into a bend lit by a sickly, perpetual dusk. The floorboards here were too clean, as if someone had polished them daily for a century. Hanging along the corridor were mirrors of every size and era, long oval vanities, beveled parlor mirrors, a cracked pocket of mercury glass, each reflecting a slightly wrong version of Emily. In one her hair was wet. In another her eyes were a stranger's green. In a small convex circle her mouth didn't move when she frowned. She moved anyway, because she could not stand still. The corridor pulled her, the way tides pull and don't ask permission. When she passed the first door on the left, a doorknob turned itself. Emily froze. The door opened 2 inches. From the crack spilled the sound of a piano played with 2 fingers, stubborn and slow, like a child learning a lullaby. 3 notes, repeated. Then a 4th, wrong, and the notes began backward. Trade places, the whisper slithered through the wood. No, Emily said, surprising herself with the steadiness in her voice. The piano stopped. A small breath giggled, embarrassed or pleased, she couldn't tell. She kept walking. At the corner the hall widened into a landing with an iron elevator gate. Numbers ran in a brass ribbon across the arch, B, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, there was number 10, 11, 12, and definitely number 13. Where 13 should have been, there was a hairline crack in the brass, a seam the eye could not help but follow. Beneath the ribbon hung a bell on a little hook. The bell was ordinary except for one detail, the clapper inside was a splinter of mirror. She didn't ring it. Not yet. To the right, a sign in gold leaf had half flaked from an archway, BALLROOM. Through it, a vast room drifted under a chandelier that appeared to be dripping light, the drops falling and then floating back up, like the room had its own gravity. Couples danced without faces, their features replaced by smooth porcelain masks. Their feet never touched the floor, they hovered an inch above it, skirts swaying to a waltz Emily could not hear but could feel in the bones of the room. One dancer broke from the circle and turned its blank face toward her. The mask tilted. The head cocked. A hand extended. It wore a ring with a black stone that reflected only her. No, Emily said again, and the hand dropped at once, as if she had spoken a command and it had no authority to disobey. She stepped back into the corridor. Every mirror she passed now held something behind her that wasn't there, an extra shoulder, a curtain folding where no breeze blew, a shape. Tall and thin as a lamppost. At the third door on the left, water pooled beneath the threshold. The wet tracks were small, like a child's, and led away down the hall, disappearing beneath the elevator gate. Her mind made the connection without wanting to, the wet footprints in the dust upstairs, bare feet that dripped salt water. Here, too. Are you real? Emily asked the empty air. Water on the floor drew itself into letters, YES. Then the puddle smudged the word away as if embarrassed to have spoken. Where are you? The water slid in a line toward the elevator and seeped through the grill like a snake disappearing into brush. It did not answer. Okay, Emily whispered, equal parts terrified and steadied by the existence of something that didn't want to hurt her. A rustle came from above, a soft, measured click like keys on a ring. Emily looked up. He stood on the mezzanine, 1 floor up, hands resting on the balustrade, a tall man in a threadbare bellhop coat the color of old wine. His posture was faultless. His face was not. It was perfectly symmetrical in the way counterfeit money is, too precise, too polished, all the charm scraped away. On his belt hung a ring crowded with keys, and from the chain at his pocket glinted small, oval mirrors, each no larger than a coin. "Welcome, Miss Park," he said in a voice designed to soothe and unsettle. "We apologize for the condition of the property. Management has been understaffed since our last renovation." Emily did not remember telling him her name. "I want to leave," she said. "Of course you do," he said, and smiled with only his teeth. "Everyone wants to leave. And they all do, eventually. A hope too fragile to hold on to flickered. How? Balance." He descended the staircase without making a sound. "Check in, check out. One arrives, one departs. The house keeps the difference." "The difference?" "A gratuity," he said lightly. "A small percentage of what makes you, you." Her stomach dropped. "You took her," Emily said. "You let my my reflection out. We do not take, the bellhop said, offended. We accommodate. She asked for daylight. You asked for courage. Transactions are recorded. He touched one of the coin mirrors at his pocket. Something fluttered inside it, like a moth under glass. Each guest signs with a breath and a wish. Emily's skin crawled. I didn't sign anything. You breathed on the glass, he said gently. And you wrote a word. Help, she had written. The memory burned. Let me out. Certainly, he said. Ring the bell. 3 times. At 3:13 precisely, on a night when the upstairs room faces the moon. He smiled wider. We are fortunate in our cycles. The moon is almost right. And then I walk out. If the terms are met. He tipped his head. Of course, the equation must balance. Someone checks in for you, or the house, makes up the deficit. Emily thought of the not Emily now walking in the world wearing her face. No, she said. I won't trade anyone. Admirable. His eyes softened. Rare. Then what do I do? Learn the house, he said. Houses are like people. They are a sum of forgiven debts and unforgiven rooms. He stepped back into shadow. I recommend you visit the laundry. We keep what others cast off. He vanished as if the staircase had swallowed him. Only the faint tick of something mechanical lingered, far below the floor. Emily stood very still. Then she chose a direction she did not want to choose and moved toward the laundry. Down 2 flights, the hall cooled further into a cold that held memory. Laundry carts lined the walls, piled with sheets that rose and fell like sleeping animals. A pulley system hung on the ceiling, moving by itself in slow, ritual loops. Every so often, a sheet would lift, stretch, and settle on nothing at all, discovering a shape before deciding against it. On a table lay items sorted into stacks: gloves, hair ribbons, a watch with a cracked crystal, a little tin soldier with half its paint worn off. Emily touched the watch, and it began to tick backward. A voice spoke from beneath the table. Did you come a long way, or a short way? Emily crouched. A girl of maybe 8 lay curled like a question mark among folded pillowcases. Her hair hung in wet ropes. Water dripped steadily from the hem of her skirt, pooling into neat circles that evaporated without steaming. I don't know, Emily said, and the answer felt correct. What's your name? The girl considered, scrunched her nose. They forgot it, she said finally. It's quieter that way. Do you want to leave? Everyone wants to leave, the girl said, not unkindly. But some of us are attached. She held up her wrist. No bracelet, no chain. Not by metal. By after. What do you mean? The girl rolled onto her back and studied the pulley system as if the ceiling were a night sky. I went too far into the lake when the moon was small. I thought it would be fun to skip. The hotel keeps the water that doesn't go anywhere else. Emily swallowed. Can you help me? The girl's eyes gleamed like pebbles at pool bottom. Maybe. If you listen. She sat up, water pattering from her sleeves. There are 3 clocks in this place. One is the lobby clock, big and proud. One is inside the elevator, where you can't see it unless you aren't looking. One is the one you brought. My phone. The girl nodded. It tells the time of the place you made promises. Whichever one you believe, that's the hour that will come. Emily pulled out her phone. The screen was spidered with cracks, but the time glowed clear, 3:05 a.m. Beneath it, a strange new notification pulsed in a thin banner: guest services, complimentary wake-up at 3:13. Don't fall asleep, the girl said. If you fall asleep, you dream something the house likes, and then it won't want to let you go. I won't. The girl slid from the shelf and padded to a dumbwaiter door. Come on, she said, opening the hatch. Inside, the little lift glowed with a kind light. Short way. Emily climbed into the dumbwaiter. It should not have fit her. It did. The girl slipped in after her, and for a second the box was full of cold rain and the smell of iron. Then the door slid shut and the small space hummed as if the hotel were a throat and the dumbwaiter a note passing through it. They rose. Or sank. Both at once, a sideways movement through floors. When the hatch slid open, the lobby waited, immense, impossible. Columns held up balconies that held up nothing. The check-in desk sat like an altar. Behind it, a wall of cubbies and hooks, each holding a key. Above that, the grand clock, its face a ring of frosted glass, its hands thin knives of blackened brass. The second hand moved in jerks that were not seconds. The bellhop stood at the desk, polishing a handbell with a cloth that never became dirty. He looked up with mild approval. "Laundry delivery is most efficient," he said. "Welcome to the lobby, Ms. Park." Emily ignored him and stepped toward the clock. 3:10, the minute hand quivered between numbers like a decision undecided. "How do I ring the bell?" she asked, keeping her eyes on the clock. 3 times, the bellhop said. "At 3:13 exactly. And then I walk out." "If the door opens," he said. "Doors are opinionated." "What door?" The girl tugged Emily's sleeve, pointing. Where the revolving door should have been, there was only a dark panel of glass, the kind of glass that shows nothing until it chooses to show something. Emily could see herself in it, but not like a reflection. More like a portrait. Her eyes looked older by an hour. "Can she see me?" Emily asked softly. "If she looks," the girl said. Emily stood in front of the glass and breathed. It fogged. She wrote with the tip of her finger, backward so it would read correct on the other side, "Notme." The fog thinned. The letters smeared. But under the smudge, the message lingered like a bruise. "Will she come back?" Emily asked. The bellhop rang the desk bell once, just once, a polite ping that echoed without echoing. "She has invited company," he said. "It is customary to host guests properly." "Company?" Emily's throat tightened. "Who?" The bellhop stepped aside. On the wall behind the desk, one of those coin-sized mirrors bloomed with moving color, like a tiny window. Emily leaned in. Outside. Night. Headlights. 2 figures approached the hotel doors, a tall guy with a tripod slung over his shoulder and a girl with a backpack and a merciless grin that was all adrenaline. The guy laughed as he filmed. "Urban Explorer bonus episode at the old Grant Hotel," he said to the camera. "By popular demand, and by a very convincing DM." Not Emily held the door for them, smiling her easy smile, Emily's smile, weaponized. "You're just in time," she said. "You have to see room 13. It's unforgettable." The girl whistled. "There isn't supposed to be a 13. "There is tonight," not Emily said, and the camera loved her. Emily's stomach heaved. "No," she said to the coin, to the bellhop, to the house. "No trades. I won't have them pay for me." The bellhop considered her as one considers a guest who insists on breakfast after noon. "The house admires conviction," he said, and for the first time his tone held something almost like respect. "You may attempt a direct reclaim." "How?" "Invite her back," he said simply. "She won't come if she thinks I'm weak." "Then don't be." Emily looked at the grand clock. 3:12, the minute hand shivered nearer. The small girl's grip tightened on Emily's sleeve, little fingers cold and strong. "Tell me the rule," Emily said. "The one you aren't saying." The bellhop's smile thinned. "Names," he said. "She is wearing yours. If you can give her another, her first, she will answer to it again." "I don't know it." His eyes slid to the wall of keys. Houses are sums of rooms. She is the sum of a very old room. Find the key, and you will find what they called her before the house named her. 3 hours 12 minutes and 30 seconds. Emily ran. The key wall stretched like a honeycomb, each tag aged, some blank, some smudged with numbers. She scanned, fingers skimming metal. 12, 14, 15. Nothing labeled 13. Of course not. She stepped back, heart going too fast, and then forced herself to think like the house, crooked, precise, hiding in plain sight. There. Between 12 and 14, a blank hook. No key. No tag. Only a faint ghost of dust in the shape of an oval. Someone has it, she breathed. The bellhop's keys. The ring at his belt. She turned. He was already watching her, still as a tall clock. He did not touch the ring. Please, Emily said. Hospitality is an art of exchange, he said softly. What will you give? Me, Emily said. Not them. I'll give me. He considered. A measure passed in the clock's throat. 3 hours 12 minutes and 50 seconds. Fair enough, he said, and held out the ring. Emily took it. The metal burned her skin with cold. She flipped through keys until she found one that wasn't metal at all, but glass, clear with a ripple down its spine. On its tag, written in an ink that did not fade, Eloise, the lobby swayed, only once.